Thermodynamics, right?
Wow. More inane nonsense about calories and how you purportedly yield them from your food and use them in bodily processes when you don't.
All calories are not created equally.
Yes, they are, because they are all photons of light when made manifest in the real world, Paul. All calories are the exact same. They have no rest mass at all. Therefore, they affect the mass balance up or down by the body by zero, and they also can't be consumed. The calorie number on food labels is a measure, an estimation rather, of the amount of calories that would be yielded from that food if you rapidly combust it in a bomb calorimeter, plus or minus 20%, by the way, because energy can't be directly measured. Okay? With the notion that the body will do that with food because we're both thermodynamic systems, which begs the question as to whether we're the exact same thermodynamic system and therefore function the same way, which is not the case. Bomb calorimeters are closed thermodynamic systems. Human beings are open thermodynamic systems. Therefore, the first law of thermodynamics is not sufficiently applicable to the human system. You have to include the law of conservation of mass, which, by the way, isn't a law in the first place, but for the sake of brevity here, you have to include that into the formula as well, which makes a very long formula that is completely impractical to be using and employing, rather, and following. Okay? So, once again, Paul, with your erroneous bullshit nonsense. But of course, this is the quality you have to exhibit to get into the White House. So,
Weight loss does.
Okay, weight loss begs the question as to whether it's indicated or not to be losing the weight that you were talking about, because weight is made up of many different things. Whether or not it is indicated to lose an amount of weight depends on what the weight is made up of, among other things, but primarily that. Muscle, bone density, water, fat. What is it? So he says weight loss does happen with misspelled, okay?
And if you're in a caloric deficit.
A caloric deficit is hypothermia, Paul. And if anything, hypothermia is indicative of low metabolic rate, which is conducive to not losing fat. Oh, the irony. Oh, the irony. Which, by the way, still won't really result in hypothermia. I mean, hypothermia is pretty extreme, but for the sake of the argument. Okay, Paul? A caloric deficit is not a thing in the dietary realm. Get the out of here and stop talking.
Thermodynamics, right?
Wow. You don't understand the first law of thermodynamics at all. Cite it. Because it's not words, it's a formula. There is a literary interpretation of the law, which can be correct or incorrect depending on who is actually speaking upon it. Okay, Paul? Get the out of here, Paul. Delta U equals Q minus W is the first law of thermodynamics actually concerned here. Out of the four that there are, okay, then there's the second one that explains why your ice cubes melt in your glass of warm water. Okay? Then you got two others. Okay, Paul? I mean, oh my God. Wow. Okay, the literary interpretation of the law is the change in internal energy of a system, which seems to refer to the amount of energy required to set that system up for the recruitment, or to recruit the system for the undertaking of such work, is equal to Q, which is the quantity of work supplied to that system, or the quantity of energy supplied to that system is heat minus the work done by that system. And it explicitly refers to closed thermodynamic systems because of its explicit exclusion of mass from the equation. Paul. Okay, when you eat fiber that you don't absorb, that has calories. Quote unquote. It doesn't have calories. It has a calorie number attached to it, is what I mean. Okay, Paul? But you're not absorbing it. So now control for all of that, plus your hormonal activity in response to certain macronutrients, and get okay?
You can lose weight eating 1,500 calories of...
No, you can't do that because it's not possible to consume calories, Paul. No. And before people say, well, really, when people say calories, they're just talking about the amount of food you're consuming. Those aren't equivalent. They're not equivalent. You can eat more food in the form of mass, and that equates to less calories. And vice versa. Okay, have you ever heard of ground beef? Have you ever heard of red meat? Which has more calories per unit of mass?
Per day. You will not be healthy, and I guarantee you will be very hungry. And when you
Yeah, so this is true.
keeping yourself in a calorie-restricted prison,
You are not calorie restricted unless you are hypothermic, Paul. We already covered this. Stop it.
and you will binge.
Well, that's also not the case. You won't necessarily overeat, but yes, your propensity, yes, I agree, would be towards that decision-making process. And you will binge. Yeah, same thing there.
Gain that weight back because you have impaired your mitochondrial electron transport chain because of
Oh, so now he's trying to sound all scientific by saying, electron transport chain. What the hell? And then people are like, what the hell is that? Oh, he must be super scientific. I love this guy. Okay, things that have an effect on your electron transport chain is which substrate you are using to create energy. Okay, so whether it's fatty acids or pyruvate, really. And also photons, so calories, ironically, but not in the way that he's thinking about it. Calories from things like sunlight exposure, which can speed up the rate of your mitochondrial function by interacting with the electron transport chain. I wrote about this in my book, Contrainidicated. Buy that now. Link in the description below for the second edition, self-narrated audiobook, paperback, hardcover, and finally the ebook that is out. Check it out. Okay, it has an effect on U0, U1, ATP ACE. Okay, so that can help with metabolic rate. Anyway, Paul.
Poisonous, I would say toxic additives in these foods. This is a crazy debate that happens on X and these forums. People will advocate.
I guess you could say that your mitochondrial electron transport chain could be impacted by the overall health of the mitochondrion concerned, absolutely. Like the derangement of its own DNA. Potentially, yeah, okay.
All foods fit, Sean. That is the rallying cry of dietitians all over the world.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Okay, great. So Paul understands that.
Just don't eat too much. This is why things like Weight Watchers were created. And you see those little snack packs of Oreos and it says 150 calories.
Yeah, which is false because it's 0 calories.
Okay to eat junk food as long as you don't exceed your caloric threshold.
Except you don't have one of those, do you? With respect to food intake. You have one with respect to temperature regulation.
Being told is that additives, ingredients in these ultra-processed foods impair our ability to make energy from them. They're
Well, that's your opinion, and I would agree with it, but there's no science to inform upon that, is there?
poisonous to our metabolism. They're poisonous to the very...
Well, I would agree, because they're incongruous with what our genes have evolved to withstand to a genotypic degree, evolutionarily speaking. The principles of indication, in other words, the principles of whether or not something is indicated or appropriate to be consuming or embarking upon if it's a behavior, is directly related to the Darwinian principles of evolution.
give us life as humans.
Okay, so there we go. Quick video, but I needed to cover it because as soon as I see Paul talking about calories, I'm ready to brawl. Okay, don't listen to this whole, ooh, calories are a great proxy measure for how much you're consuming. It just means how much you're eating. No, it isn't. It doesn't mean that at all. That's not a good proxy measure. And even if it were, let's just call a spade here, right? It's not a damn calorie. Like, ooh, I'm drinking my juice today. Eddie, that's water, not juice. Yeah, but that's what we mean. No. That's what I mean. That's just what I call water. Well, don't. You eat mass, and body composition is a mass balance exercise. Mass in, mass out, not energy in, energy out, which is directly influenced by hormonal regulation, which is directly influenced by what you are eating. So food quality over food quantity. However, both play a role because you can eat so much food that it does affect your hormones, irrespective of the chemical constituents of the food. However, good luck overeating beyond what is required on a carnivore diet. If anything, you have a risk of not eating enough for your physiology, especially, by the way, if you are eating lots of ground beef. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video and found it insightful, this quick little video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, once again, buy my book, Contrainidicated, a closer look and revision of mainstream health axioms that have perpetuated illness, disorder, and disease for over a century, if you have not bought that book already. And also, finally, the link on the bottom of the screen. What is that link? Well, that is a link that will bring you to an amazing site with amazing products from an amazing brand known as Cerule. If you purchase product through that link, you will get a permanent percentage discount and permanent free shipping when signing up for monthly deliveries. And if you email me behind the scenes at edgoki@pm.me, I can tell you how to earn those products for free, because who in their right mind wouldn't want that? But of course, I wouldn't recommend buying any product without knowing exactly what those are in the first place. So fortunately for you, I have created a video just for you. Just for you, my dear viewer. Linked in the top right corner of the screen. The Cerule Products link, which is a complete video elucidation and explanation of what those products are, who should take them, why you should take them, and when to take them. And I'd also further migrate to the description below to find a video I did on these products in further detail, as well as the company of Cerule itself, which I think is incredibly important if you're willing to actually contribute towards them with a purchase. Who are they? Who am I giving my money to? Well, you'll find out in the top right corner of the screen, or rather the description below in the other video. So, with that being said, join me next time when we're reacting to more inanity and asininity and arrogance and the complete failure to understand basic rudimentary fundamental levels of science. So, until then.